Hello and welcome back to CADVent 2024, 24 days of festive design in Autodesk Fusion. For today, day 22, we are designing one of these droopy Christmas trees. So if you've ever wondered how you can design something like this, which is not showing on my green screen, hold on. Oh dear. Picture. Okay. If you ever wondered how you can design something like this, it's quite an interesting modelling problem. So my name is Elizabeth Bishop. You can find me on my social medias at 3dbish. So let's jump into Fusion and I can show you how you can create your very own customised version of this droopy Christmas tree that I've seen all over social media at the moment. So I'm going to start off with a sketch, and this is going to be on my XY plane, starting off with a circle, and this is my base of the tree. I'm going to do this at 15 millimeters. I'm then going to create an offset plane. So from here and drag this up, and mine is going to be 90 millimeters, but if you want a larger tree, you can adjust your sizes to fit what you would like to do. I'm going to create a sketch on there and create a circle on here. So this one is going to be 3 millimeters in diameter. So finishing that sketch, I'm then going to create a loft between these two profiles. So from here all the way up to this one to create a cone to base my design from. I'm then going to create a secondary offset plane. So I want this one to be 5 millimeters up from the bottom. So 5 millimeters up from there. And this is why I'm going to create the first design. Now the trick to this design is that you don't actually design the droop into the CAD model. So the CAD model will have spines sticking out from this cone structure. And because of the overhanging nature of the printer, it will come out into midair and then droop down as the material is still warm before it solidifies. And you may need to adjust your print settings to get the best design from this. But in terms of the model, we can create a 2-point rectangle. So going from the center, I'm going to drag this out, and this is going to be 30 millimeters long. You want this about half the height of your whole design. And then for the height of this rectangle, you want this to be 2 times your extrusion width. So my extrusion width is 0.4, so I'm going to use a 0.8 height here. So I've got that sketch down here. I'm then going to extrude this up by my 1 layer height. So for me, I'm going to do this at 0.2. Now for the time being, I want to create this as a new body such that we can pattern the bodies to create the design. So once I've got one of those, I'm going to create a circular pattern. So pattern, circular pattern. I want to pattern bodies, and I want this to be around the Z-axis. So I'm just going to press and hold to be able to get that Z-axis. Now the quantity that you do is entirely up to you. I found that 20 is enough, but you can do fewer if you want a more sparse design. So I'm going to click OK with that. Now, if you wanted to be very fancy with your design, you could create another offset plane and do another extrusion offset from this to create a sort of a midway design sort of between the two, like here. So you could do that. So you could do another offset design. So I'd offset that maybe 1 millimeter up, do another extrusion, and then extrude that up. I'm just going to show you the simple design, and you can adapt this to what you would like it to be. So I've got that design there. I'm then going to create a rectangular pattern. So create and then pattern. Now I want to do all of the bodies except the cone. So actually I can select all of them and then just deselect the cone there. So you should have 20 objects if you did a 20 on your circular pattern. And this time, so it's not going to be around the Z-axis, but I want to pattern along the Z-axis. So bringing these up here. Now my distance is going to be the full height of my model minus my first offset plane. So for me, that's going to be 85. And then you just want to increase the number until you are happy with the pattern and what you come to. I found that 40 is quite a heavily dense design. So this one here, you can just about see it on there. Quite heavy dense design. If you want it a slightly less dense design, you could do a smaller number. So clicking OK there, and we're going to end up with a large number of bodies. Now to join this all together, what I'm going to do is just select everything in the window, which will select all of my bodies. And I'm going to use a modify and combine. So I'm going to merge all of those bodies into one piece. So clicking OK there. And this might take a little while to compute. This should go down to one single body. And there we go. We've got our single body there, and that's just the whole thing. So if I hide that, we've got the whole thing. Now to create this tree shape, if we did this, we wouldn't end up with much of a cone in the design. So I'm going to create a sketch on one of the either XZ or YZ planes. So create that there. And I'm going to draw out a shape that we're going to use to cut. So coming out to here for the design, that's going to be 30 millimeters. I'm then going to go out a little bit further. So I'm going to go out from there and go out 5 millimeters. And then going to bring this up to the top. Now I want that to be 92 long. And then a line inwards. I'll dimension this in a moment. So whilst I've still got that selected, I'm going to come down either to this point here or this point here. So up to you how you want to do that. And then I'm going to add a dimension from the origin to the top point there. And I'm going to do 10, but 10 to 15 works well. So it depends on the design and the shape of the design you want. You could also, if you wanted to create something a little bit more organic, you could use a 3-point arc between those 2 points and do it like this to create kind of a distribution that comes out like this in an arc shape rather than a defined line. So once you've got your profile that we're going to cut, click Finish Sketch, and we're going to create a revolve. So it's pre-selected that sketch for me, but if not, you can just select that profile. Again, I want this to be around the Z axis. So press and hold with my left mouse button and select the Z axis. Now it's automatically gone to a cut, which is exactly what I want. So I'm going to click OK with the design there. And you can see there we now have this sort of cylinder profile. You don't want to go too far in because the branches are going to droop down when you 3D print it. And finally, I'm just going to add a base to give it a little bit more stability in the design. So creating a sketch on that bottom plane, create a circle, and I'm going to bring this out 20 millimeters. 20 millimeters, finish my sketch, and then do an extrude. So I want to select both profiles and I'm going to bring that upwards. So I'm going to drag my arrow and I want that one to go -1, but I want to join the design. So creating a join there. And we see here we have our tree. Now I'll show you how you can set this up for 3D printing. So I'm going to select my body. So I'm going to right click on the body, click Save as Mesh. This brings up my Save as Mesh window. And I'm going to use refinement settings as high and save that STL. Now I can choose where you'd like to save this. So I'm going to save this droopy Christmas tree here in this location for me. I'm then going to open up my slicer and bring in the design to my slicer here. Now the trick with this is in your process settings, so you'll have to work out the equivalent settings in your slicer. So I want to do a 0.2 layer height. I'm going to set that to have 5 bottom layers. So I set that base piece to be 1 millimeter. So I want that to be solid. So 5 bottom layers will give me a solid 1 millimeter. I'm then going to have 5 bottom layers and 2 top layers. And then I'm just going to have 1 external perimeter. Now I'm going to print this in something called vase mode or spiralize outer contour mode. Now you may also need to play around with your speed settings here and also your cooling settings. So you maybe just need to test it on the default settings and see what it comes up with. So doing that with the spiralize outer contour settings, so it says it's going to override these. So if I come down and show you how that works. So once we're here, we're going to have a hollow inside. If I go by line, you'll see that when we are printing this, it comes out to here. And if I just increase this, you'll see it goes out on each spine of the tree until we've done the whole tree all the way up to the top. And then we end up with 2 solid layers at the top. So you can save your G-code file, load it up on your preferred printer in your favorite color and hit print. And hopefully you end up with this really cool miniature droopy Christmas tree. So that's how we can design this droopy Christmas tree in Autodesk Fusion. If you've got any questions, please do post them in the comment sections below. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up, let me know. And I will see you for tomorrow for day 23 of CADVent.